Hi there, Malcolm here with my 152nd Booktube video, and today I'll be bringing you my June wrap-up and July TBR. Two great big parts to get through, so let's get cracking. It was a reasonably successful month. I read 7 books, totaling 1,662 pages, which is more than last month, but it does mean I'm now 3,337 pages behind this time last year. Really got to step it up a bit. First book I finished in June was The Expanse Origins by James S. A. Corey. And this is more of a short story collection, giving a little backstory to each of the characters from the Rocinante. Not necessarily how they came to be there, but just something from their past. Something very much tied to the books, but using the likenesses of the actors from the show. The artwork's okay, and we can clearly tell who's who. And the stories themselves are nothing particularly mind-blowing. Worth buying to add to the collection of Expanse books, but certainly not essential reading. And after that I then read Starcraft 2 Flashpoint by Christie Golden. And this story is a filler between Wings of Liberty and Heart of the Swarm. Parts 2 and 3 of the very excellent computer game. And it actually fills the gap between Rhaena walking out of that tunnel carrying a recovered Kerrigan and her waking up on an examination table. For the most part, the story felt like it belonged in this universe, even though it did struggle to justify its existence. A pitfall for many stories that are slotted in between two established events. You know everyone's going to survive because they're in the next story, and any characters that are generally introduced in one of these stories and don't feature in any later stories generally don't, or once again inexplicably vanish. I really like how this fleshed out Jim's and Sarah's relationship, and also how Jim struggles with what happened with Tychus. Another enjoyable read, but again nothing mind-blowing, worth buying to add to your collection. And after that I then read June's Book of the Month, The God Emperor of Didkut by Toby Frost, Book 2 of the Isambard Smith Chronicles. I have done a separate review for this one, so I'll leave a link to that down below if you want to go. So check that out if you want to know what I thought of this. And after that I then read A Map of Days by Ransom Briggs, Book 4 of the Miss Peregrine's Peculiar Children series. And I'm sorry to say, Book 1 of a new trilogy. I found the original trilogy quite enjoyable and nicely wrapped up. So it was with some trepidation I picked up Book 4 just to see where it was going to go from there, and barring some fallout from the event of the original trilogy, it really hasn't done much, which for book 480 pages long is saying something. Yes, many pages are filled with these weird and wonderful photos from the past, cleverly tied into a story, which is effectively a road trip. Yes, it's a mission behind it, but it's a road trip, and there's probably just about enough in here that would get me to be curious to know how it continues. So I might read book 5. Not going to rush and buy it though. Worth reading. And after that I then read Invader Zim Volume 1. This graphic novel is another collection of short stories, as Invader Zim and his useless robot Gur tried to invade planet Earth. Now I really enjoyed the short run cartoon series, and this book certainly fitted into the style and feel of the show. Just excellent fun episodes. Really chaotic. The artwork jumps off the page. Not for everyone I know, and not as good as watching it on the screen. It's worth reading. And after that I then read Ms. Marvel, Book 1, No Normal. We'd be watching the Ms. Marvel show on Disney Plus, quite enjoying it in this family, and we wanted to see how it compared to the original origin story in the book. And with a very similar sort of beginning, certainly with the family sitting around the table, the two stories do very quickly go in separate directions, even to how she gets her powers. And I like both variants. I felt that this one, ironically, felt more comic booky. Certainly one of the villains that crops up, you can't have a hero without a villain suddenly popping up, as a giant cockatoo or something. And then she's running around in sewers fighting giant crocodiles with Wolverine. But it was a great story nonetheless about how Kamala Khan finds herself and is able to find her own identity rather than hiding behind that of Carol Danvers. The artwork's pretty good, though the artist does noticeably change for the second half of the book. Yeah, really enjoyed it. Worth buying. Glad we did. And then finally I read Jurassic Park The Lost World, the graphic novel adaptation of the movie, which I think's hilarious. I've read the novel, seen the film of the novel, and then here's the graphic novel of the film. Now, the story is literally The Lost World from the film, not the book, and it hits all the main beats and scenes, some of which are slightly underplayed. They're much more poignant and effective on the screen, and certainly the scene where the guy gets eaten by all the compies felt very rushed. It only happens over one very quickly panelled page. The artwork's pretty basic, but what have they done to poor Jeff Goldblum's face? Yes, that's a tash, which is a little bit off-putting. All in all, watch the movie rather than read this. It's better. This felt very rushed, but I'm very happy to add it to my collection. Worth reading. Okay, so that's what I read in June. This is my planned reading for July. Book of the month is book 3 of the Harry Dresden Files by Jim Butcher, Grave Peril, where this time it looks like ghosts are causing problems. And then after that, I'll then read Serenity by Keith R.A. DiCandido. This is the novelisation of the film, concluding the Firefly adventures. I like a good novelisation. I'll see if this one is. And then after that, I'll then read Temple of the Gods by Andy McDermott. This is book 8 of the Wild Chase series. Nina Wilde is an archaeologist. Eddie Chase is her bodyguard, now husband, who basically tries to stop her from dying horribly by bad people, but at the same time trying to keep himself alive as well. So a high-octane adventure. And then following that, I'll then read Bloodline, a Sigma Force novel by James Rowlands. A similar sort of theme, except this time it's a secret American agency within DARPA who are on the trail of the American president's kidnapped daughter, who is pregnant, and there's something unusual about the baby. And after that, I'll then read The Mark, book 8 of the Left Behind series by J.B. Jenkins and Tim LaHue, chronicling the events after the rapture, those left behind, and the Antichrist is now causing a bit of grief for everyone. And a really interesting exploration on how people will latch on to an idea. Now onto the graphic novels. I've turned to my Futurama collection, starting with Futurama Orama, Futurama Adventures, Futurama Conquers the Universe, and Futurama The Time Bender Trilogy. These essentially collect 1 through 19 of the Futurama comics. I absolutely love Futurama. I think it's better than The Simpsons. And we've just finished watching the whole lot. I'm just about to read, as far as I'm aware, the entirety of the Futurama books. I don't think any more are out at the moment. Want more though. I've read them before, but looking forward to rereading them. And there we go. I'm also still reading The Walking Dead, The Fall of the Governor Part 2 by Robert Kirkman and Joe Bonanzinga while boiling the kettle. To my wife, I'm still reading The Expanse short story collection, Memories Legion, and reading to my kids has gone on hiatus for a bit. So there we go, quite a lot to get through. So if you want to share how your reading's gone, or you got any comments or questions about any of the books I've just showed you, then comments down below please. But as usual, if you have nothing nice to say, then please keep it to yourself. Thank you, and until next time, see you later.